Hello, Virgo. Hello, Virgo. Happy November to you. This is Adrian Igo, Capricorntigress of Astrology, a Look Inside, coming to you with your astrological reading for the month of November 2018. And I have to tell you a story. Okay, so first of all, hold on. That feels so much better. Okay, so, oh, and by the way, I'll do a little commercial. I now market my lip gloss through Lip Sync Cosmetics. I'll have a link below. So if you like my lip gloss, or you want to check a different color out for yourself, feel free to go and check it out. Check it out. Anyway, after my little commercial. I wanted to go ahead and discuss the emphasis. Oh, what I was going to talk about is my hair. For some reason, I felt this need to remove all of my, fakeness. So I had to remove my wig. I'm sorry. I like wearing wigs. I wear wigs every day. But this called for no wig. I have no idea why. It's like I had to come and be authentic. It was imperative for you Virgos, and you Virgos are very critical, about certain things, and you want it real. So I decided I'd just keep it real, and bear with me. I need a new color and everything. So you're getting like the worst of me right here. I just pulled it out and just showed it. So bless you all. Anyway, so the emphasis in this month is really going to be. Well, a lot of it's going to be in your solar third and fourth house most of the month. Third, fourth, and fifth house, actually. So you're going to have a lot of emphasis there. And then, of course, on your solar seventh house, because there are some planets in Pisces. So I'll go ahead and talk over this really quick. It had started out, I think Venus had been in Libra, and now it's retrograded, and it's bouncing back, I think, coming into Scorpio again. And, that's your solar second house, that Venus. It started out in your second house, and then it's going into your third house. But Venus goes into Scorpio in your third house. It's really going to emphasize communications, and your communication skill is going to get a lot smoother, like nicer, and people are going to feel like, wow, what a great speaker, like she speaks so clearly, and she's so pleasant to be around, and so congenial and affable. I was just thinking simpatico. But, that is what's going on for you guys in the month, because Jupiter is in Scorpio, at least until a certain point, and then it goes into Sag. But there should be some pleasantness to your communications. And, it starts out, your finances should be fairly pleasant as well. Now, there is a movement during the month of Jupiter into Sagittarius. So a lot of emphasis is going to be going from communications, because you've been lucky with communications all year long. But now a lot of this emphasis is going to move from the third house of communications into the fourth house of family and home, and, your security and, nurturing and comfort, and just being relaxed at home. Your family, your mother is also indicated here. So that's lucky, though. It's Jupiter. There's also going to be Mercury in that area, and it's the sun is going to be in that area for most of the month. So there's going to be a lot of emphasis on family. Spend time on family, nurturing your family, taking care of your mother. That's a good idea. And taking care of yourself. Now, Pluto and Saturn are in the fifth house of Capricorn, or your solar fifth house, which is Capricorn. And, that just means it's been hard. It's been a hard year for children. Those of you with children or have been trying to have children, it's been hard as far as that. Also, Pluto in the area of love. Or even taking chances. Wherever Pluto is, I feel like it kind of tears it down and it builds it back up again. And it's been in your solar fifth house for a while now. So it's probably done some of the restructuring over the last year or so. There is going to be some emphasis in your seventh house this month because Neptune is there. It's retrograde to a certain point of the month. Mars is going to be moving into that Pisces, into your solar seventh house. And so you're going to have some emphasis on partnerships and your relationships and even your marriage. So do keep an eye on that as well. Uranus is still in that, is going from the ninth house into the solar eighth. So you're going to have some emphasis on resources this month, like on money. Maybe money that's owed to you by other people. It might be not coming as quickly as it's supposed to. Keep an eye on your money and money on your mind this month. Make sure that people owe you money, pay you your money. Because they might be doing something, you might not get your money like you're supposed to get your money. So be aware of that, because that's possible. Yeah. And and the North Node is going to be moving into Cancer, which is real. That's not a bad thing, honey. Because, honey, listen to me call you honey. But that's not a bad thing, because this is your solar 11th house, right? That's friends and hopes and dreams and wishes. It's a lot better in the 11th house than it's been in that solar 12th house all year. You've had some things going on, you know, privately that have been bothering you. You might even have been questioning your own mental capacity this, you know, over the last year, because the North Node was in the 12th house and Mars was going through the first house, and you probably felt like you were going crazy. You were not going crazy. It was a transit, and thank goodness the North Node is going to be out of the 12th house and into the 11th house of hopes, dreams, and wishes. That means your hopes, dreams, and wishes can finally start coming true. Now, just be aware that Saturn is probably going to be opposing some of those hopes, dreams, and wishes from the 5th house eventually, because Saturn's moving a little bit slower than I think the node's going to be moving. So this is my take on your chart. I mean, it's just a real quick overview of what I think about your chart for the month of November. But what I'm going to do now is just go through where all of the aspects are and see how that affects you Virgos in your chart for the month of November. On the 6th of November, the Sun is in Scorpio, and it is trine Neptune in Pisces. Now that Pisces is in your solar 7th house, again, relationships. And Scorpio is in your 3rd house. And it's a trine. So I think that means you could probably be very creative in, when it comes to communicating with partners, whether it's your marriage partner, if it's just relationships and partnerships that you might, or even business partnerships that you have. But that's very creative. That's nice flow, good communication, good creativity. Should be very positive on the 6th. Now on the 6th as well, Uranus does enter Aries. Uranus retrograde enters Aries, and that is going to be affecting most likely your resources, and some things might go backwards. So you just keep an eye on your resources. I said that earlier, because things might go backwards. So, you know, make sure you don't bounce at the bank and all that type of thing. Just be wary of your resources and the resources of your partner. On the 7th, there's a new moon in Scorpio, and it just indicates that there is a new start for you. And just also because it is a new moon, and, you know, I would say be cautious that day of being a little emotional, or maybe not emotional enough in your communication, because it does indicate deep emotion. So you'll probably be a little bit more emotional, and it's going to be falling in your area of communications. So I could see where you might get real emotional in your communications. So be really cautious of that, because that's what happens in Scorpio. Scorpio is very passionate. And I can see you getting very passionate about something when you're communicating. So be aware of that. On the 8th of November, the Sun, or excuse me, Jupiter enters Sagittarius. And Sagittarius is down in your 4th house. That means you're going to be lucky in an area of like home and family. Home, family, your mother, something like that. There's kind of luck there. There's optimism. Something big and good is coming. That's very good. On the 9th, Venus is trine Mars, And this is Venus is going to be trining Mars from, I believe, Scorpio to Pisces, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, and so either way, it's relationship harmony. It's good. So it's probably the last degrees of Libra to the last degrees of Aquarius, and that's right at the cusp of your solar sixth house before your descendant and your your solar second house. So I'm wondering how your work and money are going to be affected that day. That could affect your work and money. Just be aware of that. On the 15th, Mars does enter Pisces, so everything, that Mars that we were talking about, that emphasis is definitely on the descendant, and it's going to be moving actually into the 7th house, the solar 7th house. That's where all the energy will be, is on partnerships. Partnerships, relationships, marriages. Your emphasis will be on that from this point on. And having compassion in those areas, like feeling creative and being compassionate to your partner, or your husband or wife or your business partner. So I can see a lot of creativity happening over the course of the next few months with you guys. On the 16th, Mercury retrogrades in Sagittarius. And, when Mercury retrogrades, everything must be reviewed and everything. Just go back and look everything over. Just look it all over. Now, it's in your 4th house, so this is going to be happening with your family. And I guess it's the time for reflection over things that need to be fixed, or you can or cannot work on, mentally with your home life or your family. Maybe talking more with your mother or something like that. There might be a retrograde there, so it's just a time for reflection in general. The same day, Venus is going direct in Scorpio, so at least it's direct. It's not going to be retrograding. It's in Scorpio. That's your solar 3rd house of communication, and you'll be able to communicate about your feelings, your love, and your affection more, and that's good, because you'll be able to really express yourself in a very pleasant way. On the 19th, Mars is square Jupiter, and Mars is in your solar 7th house, and Jupiter is in your solar 3rd house, or solar solar 3rd house. But that's so funny, because Mars is in Pisces, and Jupiter, is Jupiter still? No, it's in Sag. It's in your solar 4th house. So I'm wondering how that is going to create that Mars in the 7th, and Jupiter in the 4th. I'm just hoping there's not any problems between, like, your home life and your marriage partner, or your family and your partnerships. It might just be some things that make it stressful, especially if you work from home. I have issues with partners, or maybe something to do with your marriage. Be aware of that day. That's the 19th. On the 20th, the Sun trines Chiron, and the Sun is in Sag, and Chiron is in Pisces. The Sun is still in Scorpio, and Chiron is in Pisces. But it's a good time to heal. It's a good time to heal. Especially, that's like the 3rd house. You might be able to talk things over. It's a good day to talk things over, especially with your partner. So, yeah, smooth things over. Let go of all kind of insecurities and stuff that might have been happening. On the 22nd, the Sun finally enters Sagittarius. And that is a really good sign of big changes maybe happening in the home life, in the family life. Also, there's going to be a full moon in Gemini that same day. So, the home life, your home life and your career are going to be opposing each other. And it might be that you have responsibilities outside of the home. It might cause trouble with your family. Be aware, or be wary of talking about things like politics this day, because it's one of those days that if you get into a conversation, it can drain you if you get on the wrong subject. So just be cautious. I would just be wary of having deep conversations with anyone that day, since you're Virgo, and that would set up a T-square between that Sag and that Gemini. So I'm just cautioning you to do that. On the 24th, Neptune is direct in Pisces, and that means there's going to be a return to sanity, a return to humanity, and a return to love and compassion. And that is in your 7th house. So if you've been arguing with your marriage partner or your business partner, this is going to give you an opportunity to heal those wounds and to get back into compassionate and nurturing and talking and healing and understanding each other again. On the 26th, Mercury squares Mars. So there we go again. That Mars is in the 7th house. So you could go right back into another argument. There's a possibility of miscommunications, and it could be an issue with business, like your business partnerships, because this always seems to spell problems with things that have to do with things like business proposals and business meetings and things like that. So be cautious that day, that it is kind of stressful for those things. On the 27th, the Sun is conjunct Jupiter, and the Sun is also conjunct Mercury that same day. And this is all happening down in your 4th house, all opposing your career house, you know, and they're all squaring the sign of Virgo. So you might feel that there's some stress perhaps going on in your family, and that it's just maybe a lot going on, but it should be happy. It should be a happy time. Maybe, you know, I would say maybe because of the holidays and things like that, it should be a happy time for your family. And finally, on the 30th of November, Venus is opposite Uranus. And Venus down there in the 3rd house, communication, Uranus in the 8th house. I'm just wondering, whatever you do, just make sure you communicate clearly, succinctly, and with a great deal of understanding. Otherwise, you might say or do some, I would say speech, you might say something that you regret later, because Uranus just creates insane arguments and it comes out of nowhere and it'll confuse you and everyone else. So I would definitely be cautious of that. Anyway, this has been Capricorntigress, Adrian Igo of Astrology, a look inside. Thank you so much for listening and sharing and liking us on Facebook too. Virgo, much love and much light to you all. Bye now.